Hi everyone. Today I would be giving you some information on decision making process. Before this video, I would have taken another video of decision making and its types. So if you haven't got to see that video, you can click on the link given in the description box and you can look at that. So let's get into this decision making process that happens in an organization. So the first step in decision making is the definition, the problem definition stage. It's also called as the diagnostic stage because here you're trying to define the problem. Okay, it's a very crucial step in decision making. So as the saying goes, a problem well defined is a problem half solved. So you need to take the utmost care in order to define your problem rightly, because if the problem defined is wrong, then definitely the solutions also that you take, and the decisions that you decide on also is going to be wrong. So the tips here is avoid jumping into conclusions at the very beginning based on the present symptoms. So this has to be avoided. The second one is the problem has to be examined from different angles as to identify the exact causes. Don't only look at the problem from your angle. Understand the problem from everyone's angle, from the people who are facing, or from the different aspects for by which the problem is impacting certain resources or people. Understand it from all angles in order to define your problem rightly. The next stage is analyze the problem. So in this stage, you should not only analyze the problem in its present situation, you always even need to understand the past events that contributed to that problem, because there would have definitely been a root cause for the problem. So understanding past events is also important, and also you need to find out what will be the impact of the problem in future if the problem is not solved and if it continues. So these are the three things you need to focus on. Problems, they don't come up overnight. Definitely there would have been a starting stage for every problem. So here you need to understand and find out the genesis, which is the beginning of a problem, and the various factors that contributed to the problem also needs to be analyzed. So in this particular stage, a tip is avoid personal prejudices when you're analyzing a problem. So personal prejudice is nothing but your own ideas, your own opinions, your own experience. Try to put that away and always look at it from a common point of view. Of course your own ideas and experience, all that you can bring in, but always you should try at the most to put away these personal opinions and prejudices. So after analyzing the problem, it will give you the information of how important this particular problem is, of what priority. So if it's going to be of a minor nature, then you can authorize the decision maker, or even you can authorize it to your subordinates in order to solve the problem. But if it's going to be a major problem and it involves a lot of people who need to sit down, decide, speak, and find out the right solution, then you as a decision maker, you have to start proceeding with the next steps of actions that need to take place. So this is what happens in the analysis phase. The next one is develop alternatives. So if you would have seen the decision making video that I took earlier, I would have said that for a decision making stage, for you to be in that particular stage, definitely there should have been different alternatives, because only when you have a lot of alternatives and options, only then you will be in a point where you need to decide which one to choose. So definitely when you have a problem also, you need to find the different possible solutions for that particular problem. And if you see the decision that you take in deciding which is the right solution among the alternatives, generally that tends to be a better one. And here, if you see, the ability to identify and develop alternate courses of actions, it totally depends on the manager's creativity and imagination. So even if you are going to find out different alternative solutions to a problem, totally it differs from one person to another, and it cannot be fixed for every person. Depending on your creativity, on your ideas, and your um, how smart you are, it differs from a person on the number of alternatives to a particular problem. After defining the alternatives, the next stage is evaluate the alternatives. because every alternative won't be the right solution to the problem. So alternatives have to be evaluated. And how do you evaluate it is through thorough scrutiny of the relative merits and demerits of each alternative. Only when you understand the pros and cons of every alternative, you will be able to choose the right alternative. So this is the evaluate alternative stage. The next one is select and implement the decision. So after weighing the pros and cons of a particular alternative, of different alternatives, and you have chosen the alternative that you want to implement, you have to put it down into the implementation. But sometimes it's not always possible for you to select the most efficient alternative. Sometimes there will be, a stage where you need more information in order to take a decision, or you need time and resources, etc. So at times when you don't have enough information, time and resources, you at that time you might find out the most optimal solution for the to solve the problem at that given time. And also, if you see, you need to take into, this is an important point, the alternative has to be implemented in a systematic way. You just cannot all at once implement that. There needs to be a procedure and a systematic way in which you implement that particular alternative. And look at these points. The required resources for the implementation and the necessary cooperation from the people concerned with or affected by the decision have to be ensured. Definitely, when you take a decision, when you implement a particular, alternative, it's going to impact certain people and certain resources. So you need to keep in mind how this is going to impact the people, because when you implement a decision, sometimes there will be you will encounter stiff resistance in the implementation stage. Imagine you want to increase the working hours. Definitely you will have an impact. People are going to resist this particular move. So all this needs to be taken into consideration. The next last step is follow up and feedback. So after you implement an alternative, definitely you have to closely monitor how people are reacting to it. If this alternative is actually solving the problem, or it's actually creating more problem, or you need to monitor all these certain aspects, because when you implement also, there would have been certain unexpected events, and certain, as when people resist to that, you would have had different ad hoc events occurring. So all this needs to be taken into account, and you need to reevaluate this particular the pros and cons of implementing the solution. And based on that, you will be able to decide if this decision needs to be reviewed, or you need to reconsider and look for another alternative, or even just retract this alternative. So this is the last stage of decision making, and these were the processes in which the processes followed in order to take a and make a decision in an organization. And this can even be used in personal decision making also. So I hope this video was informative to you. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.